Okay, so this is Stevie. We've been having some back pain with her, and so we have our good friend Sonia Atkins here, and she brought a number of different trees and saddles for us to try, and she's going to go over some basics and some common sense saddle fitting things today. So thank you, Sonia. I ambushed her. She had no idea she was going to do this. And so if you want to talk a little bit about the saddles that you brought, the company, whatever you want to do.
Okay, well thanks. I always like having good projects to work on. What I do is I have Burns saddles, and so we sell those. But the neat thing about Burns saddles is not just how well made they are, but that we get to start with the trees that they're built on, and we get to try the trees on the horses, and then you get to try the saddle that's built on that tree on your horse and ride in it, and then you can determine, you know, how well it fits and all for your practical purposes. So we're probably just going to start with some trees on this mare and see where we're at, and go from there, and then ultimately we'll end up riding her in a saddle and see how she handles that. So we're going to start with this 10 tree. It's a narrowest tree that Burns makes, and we're going to set it on the horse. And the neat thing about the tree is you can see exactly where the pressure and the weight of the rider in the saddle is going to fit on your horse. We want the weight to be distributed down the loins of the horse evenly. We don't want gaps anywhere. We don't want rocking side to side, and we don't want rocking front to back. Okay, so we're going to first of all put the tree where it's going to set. If it were the finished saddle, the front of this tree is going to brush the scapula. And when I set this on the mare and I go to push on the front or the back, see how we have some rocking action going on? So it's not showing a very good, comfortable fit. When you go to cinch this up, you're going to put weight down, and the weight's going to kind of be towards the front end, and it's going to end up rocking up on the saddle. So I'm not seeing what I'd like to see with this tree fit. The other things I'm looking for is I want contact with the horse all along this tree. And I'm getting a lot of that here below, but I'm not getting it up here at the top. So I'm going to try a different size. I'm not sure how well you can see from this angle, but the things I'm looking for is there should not be a lot of room here underneath the tree where I'm putting my fingers here. It should fit more on contact like this is fitting on this part of the tree. Same thing up here, there's a lot of gap, and it's not setting on her like it should be. It's almost perched up too high. And so the 10 would be closer together, the 20 is a little bit wider, the 30 is a little bit wider. This angle is not changing along with this distance.
Okay, all right. Because sometimes, so a lot of people get hung up on the gullet width, but what we were just talking about off camera was that, so your gullet width is here. And if you were measuring it on a saddle, that's where basically you'd put your tape measure from here to try to figure that out. And then your bar angles, here you can be more upright, or you can be, and I don't know if there is more of an angle out, flatter angle. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I believe these angles are the same. They're just a further distance apart.
Yeah.
On these 3 trees.
Yeah. So all things that need to be considered when you're talking about different trees.
So now I've put the 20 tree, which is a medium-sized tree, on this mare, and I'm looking for contact all along the loin with the bars of the saddle. And it's looking better than we had on that narrower tree here. There's not as much rock. There's still a little bit of rock. And the thing to remember with these trees is they're not the exact feel we're going to get when we put the finished saddle on. On the finished saddle, we're going to have a layer of leather, we're going to have a layer of sheepskin, and then you're going to have some sort of a pad also. So this is just giving us a starting point before we just randomly start trying on saddles. Now this tree is a 30 tree. It's one of the wider trees, and I'm setting it here to brush her scapula. It looks like we have more contact through here. I don't have much rock front to back, so I think we're getting closer. So the one other thing I'll do before we put the saddle on is I will put a thin pad, and this is just a 1/2 inch wool pad. So this will just simulate more what the actual saddle is going to look like when we set it on her. So even when I put it on there, to me, we're getting a lot better fit here. It's staying secure. We don't have much rock front to back, side to side. I don't see any bridging, and bridging would be where the weight sets here and here, and then you see daylight in between. The only place where there is a gap is in the saddle. There's some notches here, and underneath there's some notches, and this is where your stirrup leathers are going to hang. So that's why these notches are in here. So if I see a little daylight through here, not a big deal, because that it will be filled in with leather. So to me, we're getting to where we know that this 30 tree is probably going to fit this horse best. So we will go to a 30 tree saddle. So I did put the 30 tree saddle on now. Looks like it's sitting pretty solid on her. There's no obvious rock front to back, left to right. I will feel up under here to make sure that we're making contact best I can. It's kind of hard to do and get very far. The other thing I'll check is to make sure we have clearance over the spine. We don't want anything pushing down on the top of the horse's spine. All the weight needs to be distributed on the loins, on the muscles. So I'll reach down here and I can feel her spine, all the way back to the center here. Also, if you look down the back of this saddle, there is a gap here. It just allows for more flexibility and freedom of movement, and so that gives some clearance over the spine there too. And then the other thing, once she's warmed up too, is I would turn a barrel or do some tight work, and make a sharp turn, drive out, and see how it
rides
fits
her as well
as she's moving.
Yep.